This is big news coming in from the Apex Court. This is the Ericsson case, and the Supreme Court has held Anil Ambani guilty of contempt. This is the first line we're getting. Let's just see what else comes out.
Supreme Court has also said that Anil Ambani willfully did not pay that 550 crores. So they are using the word of willful disobedience from Anil Ambani. So one, he's held guilty of contempt of court. Remember, the Ericsson Anil Ambani case is that Ericsson had Anil Ambani owed 550 crore of dues to Ericsson, which the Supreme Court had ordered Anil Ambani to pay way back in October of 2018. So it's been 5 months since then, and Anil Ambani has not paid it. And now Supreme Court says that Anil Ambani is guilty of contempt of court, and Anil Ambani willfully did not pay the 550 crore and no intention to pay. So the order is still being dictated. Our colleague Ashmit Kumar is right there at the Supreme Court. He will be getting us the headlines. But this is a big blow coming in for Anil Ambani, who up until now maintained that it is on account of the fact that his deal with the tower deal, the infrastructure deal with Jio did not close, as a result of which he did not get the money, because of which he could not pay Ericsson. So that was the stand maintained by Anil Ambani at the moment. But I think we're getting some reactions.
Yeah, we are. We have, I think, Mr. H.P. Ranina with us on the phone line. Stocks are falling as we speak. Mr. Ranina, good morning, sir. The judgment is being dictated as we speak. The line that we know that our court colleague has told us that has been used is Anil Ambani willfully did not pay 550 crore rupees. There was no intention to pay. How would you rate the language and first thoughts on what the Apex Court has said?
Well, it's a very frank judgment. It's a very straightforward language. No words are minced. Obviously, the point which Anil Ambani made was that he was hoping for money to come from the sale of other businesses, but that could not be a ground for defaulting. Once he gave a commitment to the Supreme Court that he had to pay 550 crores to Ericsson, he had to pay it, come what may. And therefore, the Supreme Court has rightly held that this is a willful default.
Okay, we have some more details, sir, that we can share with you right now. The order says that Reliance Communications was directed to pay the balance payment of 450 crores in 4 weeks. In case of default of payment to Ericsson, Anil Ambani will be sent to jail for 3 months. So these are the directions coming in from the court. 4 weeks, pay up 450 crores. And if that doesn't happen, then Anil Ambani will be sent to jail. I am quoting statements verbatim as they are being dictated in court. Mr. Ranina, please continue.
Yes, I think obviously the Supreme Court thinks that they are naming business, that they will have to pay. You know what happened in the case of Subrata Rai, in the case of Sahara. So the same thing will happen to Anil Ambani if he commits contempt of court, if he does not stick to his commitment of paying. And therefore, it's very clear that unless the payment is made to Ericsson, the promoter himself will be imprisoned and he will have to undergo the severe punishment. So I think the court really now means business. You can't go on defaulting, you can't go on giving false assurances and get away with it.
Yes.
And once you give a commitment, you have to pay.
But he has been given another 4 weeks to pay the balance amount of 450 crores. So he still has that time. But Lata is also here with us. Lata?
No, Mr. Ranina, if you put yourself in the shoes of Anil Ambani or RCom, they also have been at the receiving end of the try, asking them to pay up more for spectrum, or at least putting in caveats, and which is why their sale to Rel Jio has not happened. In a way, he's also a victim of circumstance. Does that redeem him in any way? And what will this contempt mean in terms of liabilities for Anil Ambani in person? Or is it a liability for RCom, the company?
Well, from what the Supreme Court has said, it's a liability for RCom, the company, not personally for Anil Ambani or any of the promoter directors. And only thing is, if RCom is not able to pay within 4 weeks the 450 crores, Anil Ambani will personally go to jail for 3 months. So that's very clear. It's not a personal liability of the promoter, it's a corporate liability. But that corporate liability has to be discharged. Now, how will they discharge? As you rightly said, they are a victim of circumstances, possibly so. But that cannot be a ground for default. Okay. Then Anil Ambani and the promoters will have to bring in money into Reliance Communication, and then Reliance Communication will have to pay up this 450 crores in order to avoid going to jail.
No, the paradox over there is that if they go to the NCLT, which now looks inevitable, then the waterfall indicates that the secured lenders will get it first and the operational lenders are way down in the food chain. So they may not even get anything. And that is what the law says. That's what the IBC waterfall says. But Mr. Ranina, do stay on. We will get the entire details from our correspondent who was in court when the judgment was being read. Ashmit Kumar has joined us. Ashmit, tell us all you heard, please. Ashmit? Okay, I think we should be redialing to Ashmit. That's the question to you, Mr. Ranina. The IBC requires that first secured lenders should be paid. So, how is this position to be resolved? You don't take it to the NCLT and first pay. How will RCom solve this problem?
Well, the problem is that the Supreme Court has passed an order. Okay. Now, that Supreme Court order will prevail. The fact that the matter may be taken to NCLT would not dilute the Supreme Court's order. So I don't think that will save RCom. They will have to pay up this 450 crores to Ericsson. Okay. And because the Supreme Court order has to prevail.
We do have Ashmit back on the line. Let's just go back to him. Ashmit, this is pretty historic. Tell us exactly what happened, what you heard in court.
There are big setbacks coming in as far as Anil Ambani as well as RCom is concerned. Supreme Court not mincing words, making it abundantly clear that this is a clear case of contempt of court. That from the very beginning it seems that the undertakings that were given to the were false, that the company seemed to have absolutely no intention of copying up that money as they had undertaken, that the fact that they undertook under false conditions and false impression that created upon the Supreme Court as well as upon the creditor in question, in this case Ericsson. In all of these circumstances, the apex court clearly holding that they are guilty of contempt. Having said that, the Supreme Court also said that given that there has been a case of contempt, the contempt needs to be purged, and the only way that will be purged is by payment. Now, keep in mind that about 100 odd crores are lying with the apex court as a form of an initial deposit that RCom had made. So over and above that, Supreme Court has stated that the only way this contempt can be purged is by payment of the balance amount of 453 crores. To be specific, this payment, importantly, needs to be effected within 4 weeks. So that's the window they have with them. Failure to do so, Supreme Court has given a very clear warning that in case this amount is not paid by RCom, what that will mean is that the chairman in question, which is Anil Ambani in this case, will be sent to jail for 3 months. Not just that, Supreme Court has even gone a step further, and as a matter of penalty, as a matter of optics, has slapped a penalty of 1 crore rupees on Anil Ambani as well as the other directors that had been facing contempt proceedings. And over and above that, the Supreme Court has said that if this penalty of 1 crore is not paid, Anil Ambani will again face jail for about a month's time. So again, Supreme Court making very terse remarks, very sharp observations, and on the back of that holding that Anil Ambani as well as RCom are guilty of contempt. Only way to purge that is a payment of 450 crore rupees within 4 weeks. Failure to do so will land up Anil Ambani in jail for the next 3 months. Back to you.
Thanks, Ashmit. Sandeep Parekh also with us. Sandeep, if you are the legal advisor to RCom now, what would your advice be?
Hello?
Yes, Sandeep.
Yes.
Yeah, there are rival claims. The court has asked RCom to pay 450 crore more to Ericsson. On the other hand, if they are in NCLT and they have declared that they want to now sell the assets via NCLT, there the waterfall would be secured lenders first, unsecured lenders and operational creditors last. So what would the legal advice be to RCom?
Lata, first of all, I don't give free legal advice. But
hypothetical.
Yeah. So I think, commitment made to the highest court will always, will result in a contempt of court, which is what has happened. So, where the Ericsson due falls within that secured, unsecured list is not very relevant. The Supreme Court is saying that you have given a personal commitment, and which is why they're holding him personally liable. Okay. It's not just the RCom, it's not just the company which has given a commitment, but these two or three individuals also had given a commitment that they will pay this sum. And that commitment was made to the Supreme Court. So, I think all the other discussions with respect to secured, unsecured is going to remain academic.
Also, could it...
they will have to pay up this amount, basically.
Okay. So also, Sandeep, I know this is within the realm of speculation right now. We don't have the judgment copy. But the fact that RCom entered NCLT only recently, the case with Ericsson has been pending and has been ongoing much before the actual, IBC proceedings began for RCom. Would that have also played a part in making up sort of the court's mind, the judge's mind today?
Not really. I think the scope is quite narrow. I don't think you need to get into an insolvency and other issues. This is a specific issue which had come to the apex court. People had made undertakings. RCom, there's a distinction here between the dues of RCom and the undertakings given to the highest court. And here there's personal liability attached, because once you give an undertaking, it's a personal undertaking, which means all the personal assets of that person also can get attached, which is not true of RCom. RCom is, as you said, people stand in queue with secured, unsecured, etc. But that doesn't apply to individuals who have to, in case they can't pay up. If the individual can't pay up, then obviously, they have to file for personal insolvency.
No, it is clear that RCom now does not have any extra cash to pay. It will have to sell off some part of its land. And when it tries to do that, the secured lenders will say, no, that belongs to me first. They could get into a legal wrangle. So hypothetically, Mr. Ranina, if RCom is not, because of legal problems, able to pay 450 crore 4 weeks down the line, then what happens? I mean, is there any other recourse for the company or Anil Ambani?
Yes, as I mentioned to you, the only recourse is for the promoters to bring in capital into RCom. That's the only recourse, because if they are, as you rightly say, their assets are mortgaged to the secured creditors. And if they sell those assets, then obviously the secured creditors will want the money for that. So the only solution is for Anil Ambani to bring in money through his other companies or his personal resources and put that money in RCom and pay it off.
Okay. Sandeep, your thoughts? That is it. If he tries to dispose of the DAKC land or fiber or nodes or any of them, the secured lenders will ask for their pound of flesh first, won't they? So is this the only choice, as Mr. Ranina says?
So, what Mr. Ranina says may or may not occur. My guess is that's not what will happen. He will not bring money into RCom and then, because then that due has to stand in queue with the others. My guess is that he'll kind of sell off his personal assets somewhere, maybe sell some shares or whatever else, other assets, and get that money and pay that up to Ericsson instead of passing it through RCom, because that will get messy.
Okay.
So, but Sandeep, this judgment, today's judgment, cannot simply overrule the interests and the rights of the secured creditors as part of the IBC. Is that right? They still have a very strong case.
And it will, because of the individual angle.
Okay.
It can and it will, because of the individual angle,
Okay.
RCom, yes, it would have gotten messy, but here you have the company and you have both individuals who've given undertakings.
All right. So both Mr. Ranina and Sandeep Parekh.
So the NCLT issue becomes, more academic.
Okay. Take your point. Thank you very much, Mr. Ranina and Sandeep Parekh, for giving us that clarity. So the NCLT process will become academic. First, the court's order will have to be obeyed and that 450 crore will have to be paid. So maybe it will have to be paid from the personal resources of the promoter.
Also, I think, Lata, this raises question marks and fresh worries about this so-called moratorium deal that the group reached with the lenders. The mutual fund lenders, Franklin Templeton Mutual Fund being the big one. They, have exposure to the tune of 850 crores. And they had got that breathing window till September. But I think there will be question marks perhaps raised even there now.
Okay, but that's a separate deal.
But if there are some other, minority investors or any other operators, to which the Anil Ambani group owes money to, maybe now they can approach the Supreme Court and now try, to get
one operational creditor has gone, the others could go. We don't know how things will pan out. There are wheels within wheels. We'll take the case as it comes. For the moment, it looks like RCom and the promoter will have to pay 450 crores, irrespective of the fact that the case is otherwise locked in other legal tangles. That's the word from the legal experts.
Okay, so on that note, we'll take a very quick break. We keep tracking this big story and the developments linked with it. And of course, we'll get back to the markets as well.